Thank you everyone for coming today. My name is Lisa Trocchio. I am currently the Assistant Campaign Director with Rhode Island RIPIRG. We are a statewide public interest group. And we have been canvassing across the state and going door to door and talking with people about our current campaign to stop subsidizing obesity. This campaign more specifically focuses on Farm Bill. And today we are focusing on a report that we are releasing called Apples to Twinkies 2013, which highlights the outrageous amount of subsidies that are going to junk food ingredients compared to healthy produce. We have some really great speakers lined up. Corinne Winter, who is currently a student at Salve Regina, Congressman Cicilline, and also Jesse Rye, who is the Managing Director of Farm Fresh Rhode Island. So please join me in welcoming Corinne Winter to speak. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you everyone for coming. As Lisa said, I'm Corinne Winter, a senior social work major at Salve Regina University, and a canvasser with RIPIRG, and that is a statewide citizen-based consumer advocacy organization. Today we're releasing RIPIRG's new report, Apples to Twinkies 2013. We'll each give a brief statement, and then we'll be happy to take any questions you have. At a time when America is facing an obesity epidemic, which is consistently growing, we are spending $1 billion taxpayer dollars a year subsidizing junk food ingredients. This is an outrageous amount of money, especially during a time when our lawmakers are focused on cutting the budget. These junk food subsidies are part of the Farm Bill, but up to this point, lawmakers debating this bill have ignored this absurd waste of taxpayer dollars. In our report, we found that $19.2 billion have gone to taxpayer subsidies for junk food since 1995. That's enough to buy nearly 3 billion Twinkies every year, 20 for every single American taxpayer. In contrast, only $689 million have gone to subsidies for apples since 1995. Apples are the only fresh fruit or vegetable that receives significant taxpayer subsidies. That's enough to buy 85 million apples each year on average, roughly half of one apple per taxpayer. These tax dollars went to subsidize 4 common junk food additives: corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, cornstarch, and soy oils, which are processed further into hydrogenated vegetable oils. These additives are empty calories, yet they're receiving massive taxpayer support. At this point, it's hard to imagine a worse use of tax dollars than subsidizing junk food. Childhood obesity rates tripled over the last 3 decades. 1 in 5 kids aged 6 to 11 is obese. This increase in obesity translates into more people at risk for heart disease and diabetes, undermining the health of our country and driving up medical costs. While the rise of childhood obesity has many causes, the increased prevalence of high-fat, heavily sweetened junk food is one of the main contributors. Spending billions to subsidize junk food ingredients just makes this particular problem even worse. Since 1995, American taxpayers have spent more than $290 billion in agricultural subsidies. The vast majority goes to the country's largest farming operations, mainly to grow just a few commodity crops, including corn and soybeans. 75% of subsidies go to 3.8% of farm operations. Here in Rhode Island, 92% of farms don't see a dime. Most commodity crops are not simply eaten as is. Among other uses, food manufacturers process them into additives like high fructose corn syrup and vegetable oils that provide a cheap dose of sweetness and fat to a wide variety of junk food products. But outside of these commodity crops, other agricultural products receive very little in federal subsidies. The $689 million taxpayers have spent subsidizing apples is the only significant federal subsidy of fresh fruits or vegetables. You can obviously see the results right here. If these agricultural subsidies went directly to consumers purchasing food, every year Americans' 144 million taxpayers would each be given $7.30 to spend on junk food and only 26 cents to buy apples. That's enough to buy 20 Twinkies, but only half a Red Delicious apple. 20 Twinkies and half an apple. That's how skewed the agricultural subsidy program is right now. It's past time to end these wasteful subsidies. With the Farm Bill that authorizes many of these programs expiring in September, there's never been a better time for reform than right now. Thank you. Now Lisa will introduce Congressman Cicilline.
I'd like to introduce Congressman Cicilline, who's currently serving his second term in the U.S. House of Representatives. And first was elected mayor of Providence in 2002. Cicilline has fought hard against a Republican farm bill that would fail to reauthorize critical nutrition programs, leaving millions of low-income families facing the possibility of food insecurity while protecting subsidies for large agricultural corporations. I'm honored to introduce Congressman Cicilline, from the 1st Congressional District. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. First, I want to say thank you to Lisa, Corinne, and Jesse, and our young participants. I really want to thank RIPIRG for releasing this report today. I cannot emphasize how critically important it is to have advocates like all of you who understand the very real impact of the agricultural policies that we set in Washington have, not just on Rhode Island, not just on food prices, but also on public health here in our state and all across the country. So thank you for your good work. I'm sure some of you have been following the ongoing debate on the Farm Bill in the Congress that has been happening over the last few weeks. I think if you're looking for an example of congressional dysfunction, the Farm Bill is a very good place to start. For those of you who might not be familiar with the Farm Bill, it's a large, very comprehensive bill that's offered about every 4 years to reauthorize programs that are administered mostly by the United States Department of Agriculture. Traditionally, it's included conservation programs, crop insurance, and commodity payments for farmers, and very critical nutrition programs. For decades, the Farm Bill has also led to a set of distorted incentives in food production. Our nation's agricultural policy has generously subsidized large-scale agricultural corporations who produce unhealthy food, but it has done almost nothing to support local, regional, or organic farmers who produce healthy fruits and vegetables. Let me give you an example. Corn farmers are currently eligible for direct cash payments from the USDA based on the amount of land they own. In 2011 alone, you spent more than $4.6 billion on corn subsidies. At the same time, in total, we provide about $697 million a year to support what are called specialty crops and organics, which include fruit and vegetables. Of that funding, we only provide about $6.6 million for farmers' market promotion programs. That's a program that gives grants to farmer cooperatives and others to promote local, healthy food markets like the one that we're at today. So let that sink in. In 1 year, we spent 15% of what we spend on corn on organic, specialty crops and organics, fruits and vegetables, a fraction of the amount. Then ask yourself whether or not it distorts the market and encourages farmers to produce corn. What does that distorted market mean? It means soda companies and other food makers increase their use of high fructose corn syrup, an incredibly unhealthy product. And heavily subsidized starches like corn become cheaper at the supermarket than fruits and vegetables for consumers like you and me. It could not be clearer. Our nation's agricultural policies are explicitly subsidizing the production and purchasing of unhealthy foods instead of fruits and vegetables. But this year, a lot of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have doubled down on this market structure and really made it even worse. House Republicans have had a lot of trouble passing a farm bill. Their first version maintained around $40 billion in direct payments of farmers of corn and other commodities for the next 10 years. And they increased funding to subsidize large agricultural corporations who purchase crop insurance. To pay for these plussing up of these subsidies and the crop insurance, and to still pretend that they care about the deficit, their first version was to cut the SNAP program, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, by $20 billion over the next decade. They also presented an amendment to eliminate the Farmers Market Program in its entirety, but apparently many of the Republicans didn't think that these cuts were deep enough, and in fact wanted additional cuts to the SNAP program, and the bill failed on the House floor. Then the House Republican leadership made a bad situation even worse. They put forth another farm bill that stripped out the entire nutrition title completely, removing a wide range of programs that provide assistance to families hoping to purchase healthy food. And of course, they kept the commodity title, which provides funding to subsidize unhealthy food, and plussed it up. You really can't make this stuff up. This is actually what they proposed. Now, I recognize that this fight is going to continue over the next several months. I'm going to continue to advocate for a farm bill that promotes healthy food, that rolls back these generous subsidies for large agricultural corporations, and encourages and really promotes local food production. But we really need advocates like all of you to help this fight. We are fighting against very powerful lobbyists and special interests in Washington who have a real interest in maintaining the status quo. This report will provide us with needed evidence to make our case, but adding your voices to this fight is critical. So thank you, and I hope you'll all read this report and become part of this very important fight. Thank you very much.
Lastly, I would like to introduce Jesse Rye. He's the managing director of Farm Fresh Rhode Island, which has been established, and it basically works on growing healthy and local food here in Rhode Island for families across the state. So please welcome Jesse.
Hi, good morning everyone. Thank you for being here today. I realize it's a little hard to hear, so I'll try to speak up. First, I wanted to thank the Congressman for his leadership and being vocal about the cuts to the SNAP program. It's such an important program to so many Rhode Island citizens, and it's really critical to the health and well-being of our state. We pilot a program at farmers markets that incentivizes SNAP benefits usage at farmers markets. So when someone comes to a market like this and takes their SNAP benefit cards, they get 40% of a bonus on top of whatever the value of their card is. So we're one of the states that's doing that, and we do that at states around, we do that at markets around the state, and it's really important, and we're getting like such valuable feedback from people that are so happy that they can come to a farmer's market and get healthy, fresh, nutritious foods right from their farmers. So thank you, and please continue your leadership on that. It is so important. I'd like to thank the Hope Street Farmers Market Association for hosting us today, and also for having this market here every Saturday. It is such a community asset, and as we see, it's such a great community gathering place where people from all walks of life can come and have access to fresh, healthy, nutritious food. So thank you so much for being here. I'm the managing director of Farm Fresh Rhode Island, and our mission is to build a local food system that values the health, well-being, and environment for local farmers and eaters in Rhode Island. And how that translates to a farmer's market is that everyone that's here is a small business owner working to build the economy of Rhode Island. And as the Congressman said, all of them are specialty crop growers. If you walk around the market and see all the wonderful fruits and vegetables, all the leafy greens, all the tomatoes, all the things that are in season right now and you all love eating, all of that is considered a specialty crop. If we can change the conversation and move federal tax dollars away from subsidies for things that go into junk food, like this wonderful report documents, and help change that conversation and increase the funding that goes to all of the small business owners around here that are growing food that's essential to the health of Rhode Islanders, that's just a win for our state, that's a win for our economy, that's a win for everyone that's here today just enjoying what's going on. And also, I'd really appreciate it if all of you can make your voices heard and voice displeasure about the cuts to the SNAP program in the House's bill. It's just a travesty to think that we would take resources away from folks who need it the most right now, especially in a state that's doing some really innovative things to show that we care about people and we care about people getting healthy access to food. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to the organizers, and thank you very much for this report.
Thank you everyone for listening. That is what we currently have for you today, and I'm sure that the speakers would be happy to answer any questions. And thank you again for the Hope Street Farmers Market allowing us to have it here, and for all of our great speakers and supporters today.